Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lonely Gods, episode 71. I'm your host, David Reinhardt. I'm joined here, as always, by Kate Riley.
I was hoping I could get that cough out before I had to respond and say something, but yeah, I'm here.
Yay. And we're here this week to talk about the Pyramids of Mars,
Yeah.
third story of season 13.
That it is. That it is. It was Stargate before there was Stargate, I guess.
It was totally Stargate before there was Stargate. Except this, well, I guess they do run into the Egyptians, but the Egyptians look like humans, whereas the Asgardians are aliens.
Well, the Asgardians look like Greys, but the fucking Goa'uld system lords or whatever the fuck they were called, they look like humans, but they're actually like the parasite thing in their tummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they stole from Star Trek, by the way. They did. That's what the Trill are.
I don't remember any of that.
Well, you should, I guess.
It's been a long time, Kate.
Okay.
But then, yeah, I did like that the aliens looked weird and alien.
Mm.
But yeah, we're here to talk about the Pyramids of Mars, which overall was not that good of a story.
Which is, I'm surprised to hear you say that. It's generally well regarded.
It was kind of just, it got good at the end, but that didn't change the fact that there were three pretty boring episodes
Yeah,
with
I wasn't.
terrible monsters.
I wasn't terribly enamored with it either, to be honest with you. I mean, I'd heard it talked up a lot, and I hadn't remembered seeing it, so I was kind of excited, but I don't know. And I mean, because like Egyptology is interesting. It's one of those things. It's like dinosaurs or UFOs or something. It doesn't matter who you are. That shit's interesting. You
Yeah, and I
know?
really liked that part of it. It was everything else.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but like the Egyptian thing was interesting, but the rest of the story built around the Egyptian thing kind of wasn't.
No, not at all. Because the
So,
mummies looked really stupid.
well,
And what?
I don't know.
You didn't think they look stupid?
Oh, they definitely look stupid.
Okay, well then. What are you trying to say?
Well, at first I thought they were going to be clever because like the mummies look like ridiculous like beefcake mummies. They look
Yes.
like that muscular lobster from SpongeBob SquarePants, but like wrapped in bandages. Um, like these are like the most ridiculously well muscled mummies you've ever seen, and it's like, which is stupid because it doesn't matter how muscular you are in life. By the time you're all fucking petrified and like unearthed, you're just literally skin and bones. But I thought they were going to be clever with it. I thought because this was the pyramids of Mars, I thought the reveal would be that they were actually ice warriors under there, and that's why they looked all weird.
That would have been so cool.
But they weren't clever with it. They were
Wait,
robots, but I mean,
why weren't they? Well, if we were dealing with Mars, why weren't they the Ice Warriors involved? What the hell? This makes me more upset with the story than I was before.
I don't know why it wasn't. I mean, it's there's no reason that they couldn't have been, I guess. I mean, maybe they were just tired of doing Ice Warriors because they did like 65 Peloton stories with John Pertwee, but I mean,
Two, Kate, two.
no, well, yes, they did too, I guess. Plus, Big Finish is one, but I'm sick of Peloton.
No, I didn't say we needed to go back to Peloton. I just
We
said I like
will.
the Ice Warriors.
Yeah, I don't know why they weren't. I mean, there's a couple of stories that do involve Mars that don't have Ice Warriors for some reason.
Like the
That
waters
involve
of Mars.
the Waters of Mars is
But that
one.
one makes sense.
Well, there's the Waters of Mars, and there's also because well,
Ghosts of Mars.
not Ghosts of Mars. No, although Waters does make sense because like this is during the time period where they're like frozen or something, right?
Even then, it's about a different, like a parasitic species, not.
Yeah. Well, and then the other one that comes to mind is the Paul McGann audio invaders from Mars, which I think turned out not to actually be from Mars, but
They're not
they said,
Martians.
no, but they said Mars in the title, and I got excited, and it was disappointing because they were actually like weird fruit bat things or something. And then there
Yeah,
was
no, I liked that story, I think.
I liked the Orson Welles parts of it because that was neat, but I don't know. It
I
wasn't
liked a
like
lot of parts of that story, but yeah, overall it was kind of weird.
I remember reading Simon Pegg on the cast list, and I'm listening, and I'm listening, I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, this isn't good.
Unlike something else we'll talk about after.
Yes.
Not Simon Pegg, but guest stars.
Fucking Simon Pegg, that shit. We'll get to you, Mr. Pegg.
Why don't we like Simon Pegg? I love
I
Simon
like
Pegg.
Simon Pegg. I'm just being stupid. Although I'm a little bit annoyed with him for not making J.J. Abrams not make terrible Star Trek, but, you know, he only has so much power. He's just one man.
He's really good in the Box Trolls.
The what?
The Box Trolls.
I have no idea what that is.
God damn it, Kate! It's the new Leica movie. It's out. It's really good. They're the people who made Paranorman, aka Alex's origin story,
Oh, I never saw Paranorman either.
and Coraline.
How's that? I do have Coraline. I liked Coraline, but
Yeah, you should watch both of their other movies because they're both really fucking good.
I don't know anything about.
Also, side note, Interstellar is really good. It's sort of relevant,
Okay.
sort of.
Okay. No, I've actually got had a couple people trying to fucking drag me to a movie this weekend, so maybe we'll go see Interstellar. Because, like, I mean,
That
I
or
am a
Big
bit of
Hero
a-
6, man.
well, no, absolutely not.
What?
No
Fuck
way.
you.
No, no, no. Me and Disney have a fucking arrangement here.
Why?
Because we're not on speaking terms. After they fucking shut down their 2D animation division, I'm like, you know what? Here's the deal, Disney. If it ain't
You don't
Pixar
want-
and it ain't 2D, I'm not going to see it. I don't give a fuck how good the movie is. Not doing it. Fuck you.
It's a Marvel movie.
No, I don't care. Don't care. Doesn't matter. I don't care how good Big Hero 6 is. I don't care how good Frozen was or Tangled or anything. Not gonna happen.
They shut down their 2D animation studio because no one was paying to go see them.
The fuck they weren't. My
Did you
ass
see
was
Princess
parked.
and Frog in the theater?
Yes, I did, and I went to see Winnie the fucking Pooh in the goddamn theaters too, even though they were stupid and released it the same fucking weekend as Deathly Hallows Part 2, like a bunch of retards, as though that weren't
Isn't
gonna.
that movie barely over an hour too?
Well, no, the original Winnie the Pooh is barely over an hour. This one I think is a full movie, if I remember right.
Is it? I don't think it is.
It's not super long, but I'm pretty sure they make an hour and a half at least.
Weird. But I need to still see that because I'm an idiot and I haven't. And I mean, I fucking love Disney.
Animated movies do tend to kind of be on the short side just because animation is so fucking expensive. But although, except unless you're the fucking Haruhi movie, which is literally almost 3 hours long, which is insane.
So good.
It's so good, but it's insane how long that movie is. Anyway, this isn't Doctor Who at all.
No, it's not.
No, oh well. This is what happens when the story's not very interesting.
So
Um,
basically, the plot is.
mhm.
Sorry. What is the god's name?
Sutek,
Sutek.
which is
Yeah.
also probably better known as Set, I guess, if you follow Egyptian mythology at all, the big happenings in Egyptian mythology. Sutek's an alternate name, but I mean Set is the name that gods usually are referred to IRL. I don't know why they changed it. I guess to be fucking fancy, but whatever.
Yep. Is he's trying to come back because he has been trapped in the Eye of Osiris, and he wants to come back because he is a Sutek the Destroyer.
Yeah, because the Egyptian gods are actually aliens or something. They were really powerful, and Sutek was bad, so they imprisoned him on Earth, like Rita Repulsa, I guess. And now, after 10,000 years, he's free, and it's time to conquer the universe.
Sure, let's go with that.
Well, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because then some fucking hapless Egyptologist fucking schmuck comes along and disturbs his tomb and gets all fucking like thralled.
Yep. He
And
gets
then
thralled, and then it is trying to launch a missile at
to the
the eye of.
control pyramid on Mars that'll like free the fucking Sutek out of his fucking Earth pyramid because that's just how fucking careful Egyptian gods were,
Yep.
I guess. So there's robot mummies and there's some ridiculous guy in a fez playing a pipe organ like a fucking nonsense person.
Yep.
And the doctor's not fond of it, basically, I guess.
No. Well, because Sutek was. I did like that he says like they fought them before, and it took like every other spacefaring race fighting together to stop Sutek.
Hmm.
Like, there's some really interesting stuff they discuss about like the mythos, like the Egyptian space mythos, and the past in the last episode, but it doesn't
even
matter
actually,
to the plot.
No, but even actually, it was like the as far as Doctor Who lore goes, like the fucking manor house where all this is taking place is the site of where unit headquarters will be, and so it's one of those. I mean, the whole thing is kind of one of those cases of the Doctor getting the right place in the wrong time.
Yes, it
like
is.
He so often does. Or the right time, I suppose, because you have that actually really, really excellent scene where Sarah Jane's like, well, why don't we just leave? And he's like, all right, and they do, and then it's like everything is destroyed, and he's like, well, I guess we better go back, huh, Sarah?
Except they talked about that recently in something other than Doctor Who that I watched that was like, it may have been an audio, it may have been a new episode, I can't remember, but saying that if you leave like at the moment, it locks in the future.
Mm.
Which clearly didn't happen in this episode.
No, but I mean, Doctor Who contradicts itself occasionally, and is probably one of those things.
You mean constantly?
Not constantly.
Often.
I mean,
it can contradict the like rule stuff, but it tries not to contradict plot stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes it's like you can't keep every single little rule straight across, fucking 34 seasons of TV now, plus, a zillion audios. It's like, it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So, I mean,
technically, aren't the audios not canon?
Yeah, they are. I'm like, they weren't at first, but they pretty much officially canonized them with Night of the Doctor because Paul McGann on fucking screen specifically mentions Charlie and Kara's.
Yeah, there's the only problem with that whole thing is just that they could always just pull a George Lucas or whatever and say, oh, the only thing that matters is the televised stuff.
Yeah, well, except for Moffat has kind of been on record actually fairly recently saying that the web stuff is just as legitimate.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he says basically the webisodes are just as legitimate. It's still Doctor Who, and he says he even enjoys the web format because that means that stories can kind of, that are too short to be a full episode can still be told. That's the viewing figures for Night of the Doctor clearly indicated that the audience doesn't fucking mind online content at all. So, although I don't think that's entirely true because I mean like there's a difference between a webisode of like the pawns dicking around in the TARDIS and bringing back the Eighth Doctor. Like. One of those things is more important than the others.
That is incredibly true.
But no, I mean by bringing up Charlie and Kara specifically in a thing that's canon, they bought the Big Finish audios into canon, whether they like it or not.
Which is fine because Charlie and Kara's are awesome.
I don't think. I mean, there's not really very many Big Finish audios that aren't good. I mean,
no. But
so I mean, it's not a terrible thing.
Yeah, but Pyramids of Mars. Just I don't know. It wasn't a very complicated plot. Was the problem? It was like not a whole lot happens. They tried to stretch a simpler story for too long without providing enough interesting like character stuff.
Well, I mean, kind of. I mean, like the brother thing was kind of alright, but I mean it.
It didn't go anywhere, though.
Not well, kind of. I
mean, he kills his brother, and then he kind of dies at the end.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought it was all right. Didn't really bug me, but
like a good like stunning realization when he was free or something, you know. It
no,
was just...
but I know in a way I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because that would be such a fucking cliche. Like everyone and their fucking mother does that. I mean, I think it's more interesting that it doesn't really, save him. Sometimes subverting, the audience expectations like that is definitely, worth it.
No, I mean, like, he didn't even realize what he had done, like, when he was freed. He just kind of died.
Well, yeah. I mean, by that point, though, they were clearly trying to rush to wrap it up, so...
Yeah, but why? That's the issue.
I don't
why
know.
are they
I don't
rushing
really...
to wrap it up? They had so much time to do whatever they wanted, and they squandered most of it.
It's definitely... it's... unusual when you're complaining that a 4-episode story is too long. Usually we bitch about 6-parters, and a lot of the time quite rightly so, but,
Most of the time.
Most of the time. I guess this has the opposite. Maybe this and Sontaran Experiment should have just fucking traded places. This could be 2 episodes, Sontaran Experiment could maybe be 4, and get to do something interesting. I don't know.
But that's not the way the world works.
No, and now that I say it, I don't want another hour of Sontaran Experiment. I really don't.
Of course you don't.
No. There's some nice continuity in this though, with the unit house stuff, and I liked the why don't we leave, and the Sarah Jane wearing Victoria's old dress randomly for some reason.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
I'm not really sure what the point of that was, other than a continuity thing, but usually, this isn't... Why I think it's weird is because this isn't a story that has really anything to do with any, previous continuity. It's not an anniversary story, there's no real special occasion that I'm aware of, so I'm not really sure why it came up. Not that I'm complaining, because I love my visits from the Continuity Fairy, but...
Yeah, it didn't entirely... There was no,
Also, it's not a good dress on her. It looks shitty. It looks like a nightgown or something. It's not good.
No, it is not.
Yeah, I didn't really feel the storyline. That was kind of the problem, because the highlight of it really was, Tom and Sarah Jane playing off each other, and, I mean, they're very, very good to get together. I mean, they're just as good a pair, I think, as Pat and Jamie were.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
they're always fun to watch, especially as now, because they're totally a team. Sarah Jane has less and less gotten to be Doctor What's Going On, and more kind of his partner in crime, which is fun.
It's really awesome. It's really good to see them. The Patrick Troughton and Jamie comparison's perfect. And it's. I mean, there's a reason why everyone knows the 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane from the classic series.
Absolutely. I'm not really sure why Tom Baker's era is the one that's remembered the most, because, I think maybe it's just fucking sheer amount of screen time because he stayed longer than anybody else, but I don't know, or something about them and something about him and Sarah Jane in particular seem to stick with people.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with it too, although it's just some other pairings and some other eras of the show that I think are, just as good. It's I don't know why people don't remember them as much. But whatever. They're all on DVD, the ones that have been found anyway.
Yay.
Yay.
I don't know. I don't really have much more to say about Pyramids of Mars.
Well, I thought there was some fairly good special effects in it, I guess, for the day.
The sarcophagus effect was cool.
Well, I liked the Sutek's true face with the kind of the jackal head.
Yeah, no, I did really like that.
But I mean, I dig it.
Yeah, it looked both his mask before that and out of it both kind of looked a little silly, but it fit with what they were going for. And I really
it looked like an old Egyptian bust or something, which is what you wanted anyway. So
exactly. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the not just that, but in the forest there's that invisible fucking force field barrier thing, and that's one thing to have them miming their way along it, but they actually throw shit against it and it bounces off, and I didn't see any, glass I didn't see, any, like, ripple of fucking, saran wrap, whatever they fucking did to make that effect worked really well.
Indeed.
There's definitely some, like, overacting and just, like, silliness in this. I mean, I thought in a lot of places things that could have been emotional kind of turned out melodramatic because people were going way over the top, and I mostly lay that on the guest cast.
Well, yeah, the two brothers for sure.
For sure, yeah, and that stupid motherfucker in the Fez playing a pipe organ for no reason.
You really don't like that guy.
I really don't like that. He's silly. I mean, and the mummies are silly too. I know we already bitched about that, but yeah, it's their whatever. I kind of did like when they unwrapped the robots. Like, they're not normal, like, silvery, tinfoil man robots. They're like wireframe, which is kind of neat. I mean, they don't move like that, obviously, because they wouldn't have been able to do so. But the fact that it's like a wireframe chassis underneath is kind of different, I guess. It's I don't know, the kind of thing that I think would work like in a modern episode better, because then you could actually have it like animate like that and kind of like a Terminator, skeleton. But
oh well.
But oh well. They still fucking suck. Let's see, what else do I have in my notes? Yes, this story is credited to Stephen Harris, and there's no such person. It's a pseudonym. The original writer basically came up with the idea. The scripts weren't satisfactory, so Robert Holmes fixed them, and then there's basically a pseudonym so that neither one of them gets all the credit, I guess. Kind of the plan there. Pyramids was actually going to be the season premiere, but Zygons got held back, so that became the premiere, and then Planet of Evil ended up going second because the Pyramid scripts were fucking late because they had to be rewritten basically from scratch. What difference that would actually make to the overall arc of the season? A fair bit, actually, I think. Because Pyramids of Mars pretty much, if you want to have Pyramids of Mars, you pretty much have to take the next story with it because they're kind of a continuous piece, so you'd end up having to push Planet of Evil like all the way back, pretty much. So, anyway, what else do I have to say? Oh yes, the original scripts. This was going to be a unit story. In present day, they were going to turn up in the right time, and they were actually planning to have the brig killed off. Lucky for us, though, Nicholas Courtney was not available, so the brig was spared. We got to keep enjoying him for many, many years. But if they had had their way in the first place, that would have been the end of him here.
Thank God they didn't.
Nicholas Courtney is too good to get rid of. Like, I don't know why you'd ever really want to fire him. I mean, he's one of those characters that, like, you can give him a finale and a send-off. You don't need to kill him. Some characters are better off being killed when you're done with them, but the brig isn't one of them, I don't think. So
I totally agree.
Yeah, but basically one of the reasons this was so hard to like get rewritten is when the scripts weren't satisfactory, they tried to like track down the writer only to find out he'd like buggered off to Israel someplace. They couldn't fucking get in touch with him. But and speaking of, I don't think Pyramids of Mars is really a very apt title because there's only one pyramid and you don't go to Mars until episode 4. Like, the title sets you up for a very different...
No, I was upset about that.
It sets you up for a very different story than, like, what you actually get, you know?
I do know. I do know indeed.
I think... What would you have called it instead? Can't think of anything better. I mean, which I guess is why it's called what it is, but...
Evil of Mars. That's my go-to. Just power, evil...
Dirty Egyptian shenanigans.
Curse of Mars.
Ooh, Curse of the Mummy, maybe.
That's actually not bad.
Curse of Sutekh.
But so yeah. Oh well. Hopefully this season will get better.
Yeah, I still have actually 2 last single notes. that are completely miscellaneous. But apparently, if you actually looked inside the TARDIS, I don't think it's visible on screen, but like if you were physically there and you went in, basically it would be a garbage heap because people would just keep throwing their fucking trash in there on set because it was convenient.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yep. And actually, when the manor house gets on fire at the end and explodes, that was at the time the largest in-studio actual real fire in TV history. Because yeah, you didn't have CG in those days. You actually just lit shit on fire.
Nice.
Hope for the best. So that's pretty much it for Pyramids of Mars. Supposedly a classic, kind of disappointing. Not terribly interesting. Was sprinkled with some good stuff. So,
yes, indeed.
I think that about sums it up. You got anything else to add before I move on?
Nope.
Okay. So, what? Are we done, or?
Oh no, I do have other stuff to talk about though.
Oh, well, all right.
Yeah, don't you want to hear about all the audio I've been listening to, Kate?
I do. I just weren't sure if you were going to talk about it or not. You left some dead air. I assumed that you were.
Have we recorded since I finished the last season of McGann?
No. I think you had finished Crumman. I think Natural History of Fear was the first one that you would have heard after our last show.
Oh, Natural History of Fear was fantastic.
It's pretty awesome. I mean,
the
actually,
1984 one? God, it was so good.
Yeah, with that twist. What a twist.
What a twist.
What a twist. It's one of those things, you can only do that in audio. If you did that on TV, you would give up your twist in about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, they kind of did it they didn't give it. It wasn't the twist at the end of the story, but that was what the other Doctor was basically about, which you've seen.
Oh, the next Doctor. Yeah, kind of.
Oh wow, that's a very similar plot to that too.
Yeah, except for the next Doctor was retarded.
I liked it.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna forgive that giant fucking clockwork Cyberman thing terrorizing London.
I liked the rest of it.
Let me be grumpy. Let me have this.
No.
Oh.
Anyway, but yeah, Natural History of Fear was brilliant, and we'll of course talk about that more whenever we get to the audios forever from now.
So what would be next? I got Twilight Kingdom.
Twilight Kingdom was next, so it was just those two then.
Yeah, that
I liked Twilight Kingdom. It wasn't as good. It was a good episode. But the problem was it was in a season with some fucking amazing episodes, so it just got really outshined and seemed. The problem was because they're in this weird alternate universe. To have just a standard story feels like a letdown.
Well, yeah, and that was my main problem with Crumman as well. But Crumman was more interesting because you got to meet a new companion and kind of get to know them. So like it was. I don't know. It had more to go on, but like Twilight Kingdom for me was just it was very like ho hum, fucking average, mediocre, boring, like nothing interesting. Especially when you kick things off with Zagreus and Scherzo, and you have Natural History in there too. Like Crumman and Twilight look kind of shitty by comparison, even though they're kind of just okay.
The whole mind control and the people like being absorbed into the cave walls and stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked some of that stuff. It got really fucked up.
Yeah. I am left unenthusiastic about Twilight
It
Kingdom.
went well in my Halloween season.
Well, I guess so, actually.
And then I listened to all of the first season of Gallifrey.
And what do you feel about that, Dave? I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Gallifrey is so goddamn good. Considering the fact that it's about Romana and Leela, both are companions that I'm not familiar with at all. And I'm still absolutely loving it without knowing them that well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Romana, you've had a bit of a chance to get to know because she's turned up in a few McGann audios prior to spinning off into her own thing, but
it's not the same. Like,
no. So, but I mean, Gallifrey is really really well written. It's very heavily serialized. It's a it's a political thriller, really. I mean,
it is a political thriller that just happens to deal with space stuff.
It's really neat, and I'm glad you liked the first season because it's nowhere near as good as the rest of the show.
Are you serious? Oh my god, you gotta give me more.
I will when I can, but it's one of those things that's only available on CD, right? So I know I'm waiting for the mailman to come with presents for me.
But yeah, no, Gallifrey is fantastic. I don't know how much. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to get too in detail because we'll talk about it eventually, I assume.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be quite a while between then and now. And I mean, we're not really going to go super in depth with it anyway.
I really like that the entire first season of Gallifrey is dealing with the effects of what happened in Zagreus.
Yeah, that's good too. I mean, well, yeah, like between Neverland and Zagreus, and then Gallifrey is very much grows out of that. It's not a series that you should pick up if you haven't heard the Paul McGann audios at least up to that point, especially given the finale. Like you fucking better know who Charlie is.
Yes, because it's dealing with, and that was the super awesome thing is that India Fisher guest starred on Gallifrey as Charlie's sister. And she did a really good job at changing her to sound like someone that's related. Like she sounds similar but different. She put a good spin on her voice to make it seem like they were related, but not just the same character.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got Facebook messages from you. It was just all capitals. Like, oh my god, what's going on?
She was a Nazi.
Yeah.
And then she repented.
Yeah.
And then had a really dark ending.
Yep.
But really good.
Yep. But I mean, one of the things I actually appreciate about Gallifrey is the consistent cast of characters, because even people like Narvin and Braxiatel, like those are Time Lords we've met before in like previous audio stuff. And Braxiatel actually kind of creeps into the new series a little bit. If you've seen the animated David Tennant special Dreamland, the Men in Black robots are supposedly working for Braxiatel's collection.
Wait, really?
Yeah. That's
awesome.
Yeah. Braxiatel turns up. He's also very much. He's definitely a figure in the Bernice Summerfield audios as well, and so I mean Braxiatel is a character that's had a very long life but never actually been on TV.
That's nuts.
So I mean, just the fact that they're using people that consistently. I'm glad that it's heavily serialized. I'm glad that it's an ensemble cast and just doesn't use random Time Lord of the Week. Because that would get annoying.
Yes, it would. But it's fantastic. So then I've also listened to, which you have been listening to for the first time, Dalek Empire 3.
Yes, I guess I left you hanging without the last
fucking end. How dare you?
I promise. I'm sorry. I will get around to it as well. As soon as I hear it, I will pass it on to you.
Why can't we just listen to it at the same time?
Because I don't want you to get excited and tell me things.
I won't. I would never do that.
Well, all right. We'll see what happens.
But I've been loving the first two seasons of Dalek Empire.
Mm.
And I love how that there is a huge time skip in between season. I mean, there was a time skip between seasons 1 and 2, but between seasons 2 and 3, it's like hundreds of years.
Thousands of years.
Thousands, yes.
So, it's like 2000, I think, something like that.
I think it's 2000.
Yeah, quite a while. I mean, because between 1 and 2, it was like a few months, or a year maybe, but not.
Or I thought there's a time skip somewhere in that story then.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's because they've been fighting for months, right? You kind of skip to the important bits.
Like a couple decades, I thought.
Oh, hell no.
I might just be remembering it wrong.
You are remembering it wrong.
But
definitely
oh no,
remembering
you're
it
right.
wrong.
It is just a few months.
Because I mean, we kind of like the second season Dalek War, like you kind of, you get to see more or less the important points of the conflict. I mean, you skip
I like how we
weeks and months
decided to
occasionally.
stop
But
naming each season something Dalek something after 2. Where we're just like, now it's Dalek Empire 3.
yeah, well, I mean that's what they did. I mean, because like season 1 and season 3 are just Dalek Empire, and each episode has its own individual title, versus season 2, which is all the episodes are Dalek War, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, whatever, right? So.
I don't know. I love the Daleks. I really like Dalek Empire 3. I like how it's such a different spin, and because it's taken place so long between the last Dalek Empire show, like we haven't seen the Daleks. The humanity hasn't seen the Daleks in like 2 millennia basically.
Mm-hmm. And this was also after like a huge like galaxy shattering catastrophe. So like, even knowledge of like what the Daleks even were has kind of been lost to most people.
Except they still know what Valicia and Kalendorf is, which I really like. That
Yeah,
is,
well, because Kalendorf's fantastic. That's why.
Kalendorf was so awesome, and I'm so glad he will never leave the series. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, he and Suze actually turn up. I think it's a Seventh Doctor like little one-off episode story, like where he travels to the time of the Dalek War, and they kind of cross over for a little bit.
Well, Suze is also still the voice of the Dalek Empress now.
Yeah,
which I mean, like.
How much of that's actually still her, and how much of it is just
Well, it's her voice.
Yeah, remains to be seen. I guess.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
not still her. Anything that was like that was probably transferred.
Yeah,
I like how David Tennant's in Dalek Empire 3. That was the Simon Pegg teaser.
He's more or less like the lead, I think, more or less. I mean, he heads up his own storyline anyway.
Yeah, well, at first it seemed like he was a side character that was the narrator, but after like episode 3, yeah, he is the main character.
Yeah, and it's I mean he works really well on audio, and which is good, because sometimes screen actors are used to being able to gesture and do all that stuff, and voice work is different.
He's got
David Tennant does it really well, and I mean this was before he was cast as the Doctor.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean I don't even think the new series had started yet when they recorded this. And it's interesting because if you listen to him, like some of his delivery, you can almost hear the 10th Doctor in there.
Yeah, no, I did notice that, and that makes sense now that I know that it was before.
Yeah, because I feel like if it was after, he probably would have made more of an effort to sort of like dress it up and be different.
He would have gone full on Scottish.
Well, I don't know about that, but he would have definitely probably done something different with his voice anyway. Maybe Scottish, or at least just his inflection, because some of it is very, very 10th Doctor.
Yeah, but it's so good. It's so I love the I'm trying to remember if I figured out if I was wrong or not about my assumption, and now it's been a couple days and I can't remember. What does Variant 7 do? Do we know exactly?
As of the end of episode 5, it looks as though it's mutating people into Daleks.
That's what I thought it was, because that was the stinger at the end of 4, but they never explicitly say it, and they haven't yet. But I figured that was like our Dalek army, because there's only a couple of them. They're turning people into Daleks.
Well, we saw it a little bit on screen, sort of in 5, but they didn't say it outright. But like when Kami has been cured of the plague or whatever, and then like you check in with her throughout the episode, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden her, Daleks are bringing her food now, and not
You're right. Never mind. No, they did confirm it. That was the end of 5. Was that she's like, did you look in the mirror? Have you seen what you look like?
Yeah, because like I think her fingers have like fused together, and she's got like tentacles or something now.
Yeah, Kami. God, poor Kami.
Yeah, like it's not Dalek Empire unless like most of the cast is dead or incapacitated by the end of it. I mean, that's just how it is. Although actually, I think Dalek Empire 4 also has a season title. I think it's called The Fearless, but I think each episode still has its own title.
Do you have 4?
I don't have 4. I haven't heard it because 4 doesn't follow on from 3. It goes back and tells stories from during the first Dalek Empire.
Why?
I don't know why, and that's one of the reasons that I didn't jump on it when I heard about it, because I was like, that's not really what I wanted. I mean, we'll get it eventually for sure, but I mean, it's probably not right away, just because it's like story-wise, it doesn't really have much to do with.
So why does the TARDIS data core say that the Dalek Empire series started with the through line through a series of Doctor Who audio stories before it became its own thing?
Because it's a piece of shit and it doesn't know what it's talking about. No. Why it says that is because there are a few. There were a few like mainline Doctor Who audios that established a few of the things that then were used for Dalek Empire. It's not really the same.
With the 7th Doctor Dalek story, that they're just like, because they go back to places and deal with like the same regime, it's the same.
Yeah, basically. I mean, Time of the Daleks is included because it takes place from the Dalek perspective. It's during Dalek Empire, but as far as the Doctor's concerned, it never comes up. It doesn't matter. There's like other audios that introduce planets like Valicia. They introduce the fucking spiral, whatever the fuck galaxy that the Daleks are coming from. But like, it's not really plot related. It's just it lays some groundwork and introduces some concepts that honestly you don't really need, because if you just listen to the first Dalek Empire, you'll pretty much pick up anything that you need to understand, as long as you're familiar with what a Dalek is. It's pretty
Why
much what you
isn't there
know.
more Dalek Empire?
I don't know why they haven't done a Dalek Empire 5. I have no idea.
Why? Well, I guess it's why, but there's like a fucking 3-year gap in between 3 and 4.
Yeah. I'm not sure why. I mean, it might be because that was around the time when the new series started and Nicholas Briggs was busy fucking being the Daleks on TV instead of just on audio. But honestly, I have no fucking idea. I think the other thing was, actually, here's a theory. It's a complete like assumption and conjecture, but Nicholas Briggs is Dalek voices. He writes and directs these. They're very much entirely his baby. I don't remember exactly when he took over, but eventually he became, and still is, the like executive producer for Big Finish as a whole. So it's entirely possible that the reason for the gap is that basically he got bumped upstairs and he doesn't have the time to put so much effort into doing all of this shit himself. I don't know. Which, I mean, I don't know how well that actually holds up, because there's no reason, I guess, he couldn't command another one be made, but maybe he's too attached to it.
Why does my Big Finish site say that the Sarah Jane audios are on? Oh, I guess the first one's the only one that's on. Is
the first one? Yeah.
Okay. Do you have season 2 yet? Because I want to listen to that.
Not yet, but I can. What?
No, I like that.
But, well.
No, man, but yeah, no. Dalek Empire has been so. I can't wait to see how this ends. Just because with that reveal that they are turning people into Daleks, that is so fucked.
Well, either I'm really going to enjoy it, or I'm really not going to enjoy it.
Or there's going to be some like Deus Ex Machina or something.
No. What I mean is, I don't want there to be. Since I know that Dalek Empire 4 does not continue from 3, and since I know that there isn't a 5, I'm hoping that 3 doesn't end with a cliffhanger or a stinger or something. You know? Some little dangling thing that's gonna bug me.
So you mean you really hope that in the next week we don't get really angry at Big Finish?
Yeah, I hope so. And it's bizarre because like I don't really know why Dalek Empire. I mean, my theory is my theory, but like Gallifrey is on like season 7 now, and like Bernice Summerfield's had like 12 seasons. Like, we can have one more Dalek Empire. I mean, come on. Anyway, that's pretty much that, I guess. Unless you have anything else to fangasm over.
No, I don't think so.
Excellent.
Not unless we have more audios soon.
Well, we will. We'll have more audio by the time that there's another episode of this. Rest assured, fear not, etc., etc. blah. All right. So,
next week.
Next week, yes. Next week is the Android invasion.
Yes.
It's more or less the end of Unit as a regular feature on the show. So it's kind of their send-off, sort of.
I'm really getting mad at the TARDIS data core then.
Why?
Because it said that the end of Unit was the finale of the season.
Finale of the season.
But it does say that Harry and
let me look at that. On this, because I mean I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. What is the final one of the season?
It did say that
the Seeds of Doom. Well, I mean that has Unit in it, but I don't think it has any of our regular characters.
Oh, but then it does say that this is the final appearance of Harry and oh god,
yeah, no,
Benton.
I'm on the Seeds of Doom page, which it says the serial marks the final regular appearance of Unit. Unit did not reappear until a brief appearance in 5 Doctors. None of the established Unit characters are seen in this story, which means that as far as we're concerned, of people that we actually care about, like the Unit that we've grown accustomed to,
and the Brig.
Yeah, and there's that whole family we had going there with Brenton and Brig and Yates and fucking whoever else, Harry, I guess.
Well, Yates fucked off a while ago.
Yates did fuck off, but I mean, it's still, the end of the...
Yates turned traitor.
Yates turned traitor, but Yates was good again, so it's all good.
Well, he accidentally turned traitor, basically.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he got suckered, but I don't think that's an accident.
No, well, you know what I mean. But yeah, so that was Pyramids of Mars. For a not interesting story, we went on for a really long time, Kate.
Yeah, well, a lot of that time was talking about Gallifrey and Dalek Empire, so...
Oh, they're so good. It pained me to listen to them one in a day when I was limiting myself to that. When I had enough audios to do that.
Well, you're just going to have to exercise some patience and self-control. You should go to the meditation center and summon some spiders, and when you come back, you'll feel a lot more relaxed.
I just listened to podcasts instead.
That's okay.
I'm still 4 episodes behind on Welcome to Night Vale, so I'll use that to cope.
Righto. Well, Android Invasion next week, probably some more audios.
Yay, bye everyone.
What will they be? I don't know. Goodbye.
Dalek Invasion Part 6 for 3, Part 6 for sure.
Okay.
Bye.